Yeah. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Before I start the introduction, are there any apologies?
No, Chair. There are no apologies.
Okay. Anyone wants to declare any interest? No, I believe no. Okay. In that case, welcome again. This meeting is going to be live streamed and will be can be viewed on YouTube, Ealing Council YouTube channel. This is an application for a new license. My name is Councillor Munir Ahmed, and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Jassal and Councillor Ball, and I comprise today's subcommittee. Jack Roberts, who is the clerk to the subcommittee, will be minuting the meeting. Alison Luff is the legal advisor to subcommittee, and Anjali Garcha, licensing processing team leader, will introduce the report. In accordance with the procedures, I shall invite the licensing officer to introduce the report and provide clarification on any factual issues. Then invite the applicant to present the application, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. Then invite those who have made any representations or objections, if any, to make their representations, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee democratic services advice officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting at approximately 4 p.m. today and confirmed in writing within 5 working days. If the panel cannot reach the decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. Now, before we start, I would like everyone to introduce themselves. I've introduced the officer side and my colleagues. So if I can start with the police and the licensing authority to introduce themselves, and then the applicant, please.
Good afternoon, Chair. PC Kerry Smart. I'm the police licensing officer that's submitted representation.
Thank you. Bob?
Thank you, Chair. Bob Deere. I'm the licensing enforcement officer for Ealing Council.
Surinder Panchal, you want to introduce yourself and your client?
Yeah, Councillor, it's Surinder Panchal from Personal License Courses UK Limited, representing the applicant who's Tajbir Singh Arora. Tajbir Singh Arora.
Okay, that's the applicant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, we can straightway start the meeting. And I'm going to ask Anjali, the licensing officer, to present the report and introduce. Anjali?
Yep, afternoon everybody. So Tajbir Singh Arora has made an application for a new premises licence in relation to Best Quality Food and Wine, which is located at 59 Western Road, Southall, UB2 5AHE. 2 representations have been received, and these are from, first one from the Metropolitan Police Service and the second one from Ealing Council Licensing Enforcement and Compliance Team. And the licensable activities applied for are as follows. So supply of alcohol off the premises, Monday to Saturday, 0800 hours to 2300 hours, and Sunday, 10 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. The subject premises is a convenience store and an off licence, and it is located within a special policy area as defined in the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy. That's it from me, unless there's any questions, Chair.
Now, at this stage, we don't need to ask any question. I'm going to ask the applicant to present their side.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm going to briefly tell you about the application. My client does hold a personal license, has a reputation in the local community. He has had a 4 years experience from 2018 to 2022 working in Bajaj Food and Wine. My client has come to this country in 2011 and has been granted her status of citizenship or status of work permitted in this country. And he was working, while working, he was looking for a business around. He's got his brothers and friends who have helped him, and he managed to find this business, which was, as you are aware, it lost its license. And
can you repeat when he was granted permission to remain?
Yeah, he was granted permission to remain in the country. So he has a right to work and right to stay in the country.
Sorry,
That's
when was that? When was that?
2018.
2018. Okay.
And thereafter, he has managed to put himself into a proper state where he was thinking of going into business. And he came across this shop, which he will explain how. And he will explain why he's buying the shop and where is he getting his finance from. So I'm going to ask Mr. Tajbir Singh to convey his...
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tajbir Singh, and I was found this shop in my, when I go in my temple, in community temple. So some people talking about this shop, that this shop is going to be sell because this shop don't have a alcohol license. So I found this shop is interesting. I can get this shop on a cheap price, and I will apply for the new license, and I will start my own business because I know this area is very good. Southall, I know my community, people lives there, and there's a potential to work in that shop or buy that shop. So I was getting help from my friends and family members so that I can buy the shop and I can run myself. That's it, sir.
Okay.
He does understand when he came to make the application through us. As you're aware, let me put it in the first instance that most of the Afghani community do tend to work with us, as you must be aware, and you must be seeing at all the hearings that we come to. So we're very well known in the community. So everybody points everybody else to say, if you want an application or done anything, go to Mr. Panchal. So he approached us and said, well, I'd like to buy this. I'm in the process of buying the shop. Yes, we can understand the condition, Kerry Smart's and Bob Deer's concerns that why there is no lease or there is no documents pertaining to the purchase or anything. But what Mr. Tajbir's idea is to say, if I'm not getting a license for these premises to work, it's not worth buying this shop. So he's put his condition to the seller that if I get a premises license for this place, I will then go ahead with my lawyers and that and prepare the documents and get the shop up and running and get all the documents. So he's happy to say that if the license is granted within 3 months of the grant of the license, he will produce the documents from the lawyers and that he's gone forward. The other good part that he's getting at this place is within 6 months' time, the freeholder has said to him that they're going to refurbish the entire building. They are also building some more flats upstairs. And then once he's got the shop will be then relocated to him. So that is another advantage that he's getting with the shop. Hence, that is one of the reasons here we have put the application through. He understands the 4 licensing objectives. He understands that there was a previous problem at the premises with the previous owners, which I have asked him, and we've gone through with that. So he does understand. It is him today in front of you, and whatever the previous applicants have put in is not a matter for his worry, or he shouldn't be blamed for what the other person has done. But yes, he's taken it into consideration. He understands what has happened before. He doesn't want to carry out what has happened before. He's not interested in selling illegal stuff there. His interest is to make sure his business proceeds. And that is why the application has been put in. And he feels that a chance be given to somebody fresh, and there are a lot of, he will be able to present himself better at this business if given a chance. We are happy to take any questions from Bob, yourself, or the councillors.
Okay. Yeah, when you asked Tajbeed to introduce himself, you asked him to introduce about how he's going to run the business and where is he getting the finances and how is he, what arrangements he's doing, but he did not come on that. So I don't know if you want to come on that or you want to leave that bit.
He's already, I think
And
he mentioned.
It would be more interesting if he can tell us.
Yeah, I did earlier before that. I'm getting finance from my friends and family so that I can run my own business and I can buy a shop, because that shop is I'm getting on a very cheap price because it's in a good area and they don't have a license. So that's my opportunity to buy that shop so that I can make it well, and I will not sell what they sell before. So that's why I applied for the license so that I can get the license and I can run my business on my own way.
So you haven't bought the shop yet?
Sorry?
You have not bought the shop yet?
I bought the shop, but I'm just waiting for the license. If my license get approved, then I can sign the paperwork and everything.
Well, I will leave Carrie to ask those questions, how you how you've managed, how you bought, and what arrangements, whether it's a lease or so. Carrie, you want to ask any questions?
Yeah, just a couple. Thank you, Chair. Just to the applicant, how much have you paid for the business?
25,000.
And you've paid that up front, have you?
I've paid some advance.
And so how much in advance is it?
5,000.
Okay, and then is it pending on whether you get the license granted, you'll then pay the rest of the 20,000?
Yes, if the license is granted, because I told them if the license is granted, then I'm only going to buy your shop. Otherwise, I will not, because without licensing is like, it's not benefit for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my next question, but I think you've answered it. So to finance this, you've gone through friends and family?
Yeah, because I have saved some money when I was working in off license, and I'm getting some help from my friends and family members.
And how much are you getting from them, please?
Like 3,000 from each, from my friends. 3,000 from my friends, 3,000 from my brother, and other like small money I'm getting from my family members. I have 4 family members, so I can manage like to get 20,000.
So you're planning to get your 25,000 through your friends and family?
5,000 I have already paid, so it's 20,000 left. So I can arrange it from my family members or my friends.
And how do you intend to pay them back?
When I start my business, so I can pay them back.
Okay, and is there a set period that they allowed you?
No, there's no period, so I can give them any time.
Okay, and are you currently working at the moment?
Yes.
What's your job, please?
I work in an off license, part-time.
And which one's that one, please?
I can work like many places because I'm covering people if they go out for holiday or they don't have staff to cover them. So I can go every places to like fill them places.
So where's your part-time work at the moment?
Bajaj Food and Wine.
Okay, and you said that you've come. How did you come across the business was for sale? I know you said at the temple. Has someone approached you? Did the
Yeah, there was like when I was standing with my community people and we were just chit-chatting, and some like some said, oh, that shop is going to be sold because they lost the license. So I asked them who's the owner of that shop. So the guy told me that this is the owner. So I approached the owner and asked them, are you going to sell the shop? You don't have a license. They said, yes, I'm going to sell my shop. And we discussed the price and everything. So I said, okay, if I get my license, then I can only buy your shop in that price. If not, then I will not buy the shop.
Okay. And do you have
Yeah.
a financial agreement with your friends and family in relation to borrowing this money?
No, there's no agreement. It's just my family members. So there's no point to get agreement.
Okay. So, but they are expected to be paid back, are they?
Yes, they are.
Over what sort of period of time?
We haven't decided. I can pay them in a years or months. Like it depends on my business. My business is going good in the starting. I can pay them like small amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been from, let's have a look. So you've got 4 years experience. Is that just working part-time in Punjab Food and Wine?
No, it's full time.
But you're working part-time at the moment?
Now I'm working part time because I have to cover some places. So that's why I can go like half day here, half day some other shop.
Okay. How are you going to be able to fund getting stock for the premise? Where are you going to get your funds from to purchase the alcohol? If you're borrowing so much money from your friends and family, where's the money going to come from for the alcohol?
I can take help from friends and family members as well. And like if I buy the shop from the previous owner, so I can tell them I can take your stock and I can pay you slowly, because they are my community people. So I'm sure they're gonna help me as well.
So you're just relying on the generosity of friends and family and
No, they agreed to
community.
pay. They agreed to pay me the money. They said once your license is done, you can take money and you can buy your shop.
But you've
They're
got
not-
nothing in writing in relation to that.
I can't take writing from my family members that they're gonna give me an order. I'm sure they're gonna give me. I'm their son, so there's
Okay.
no objection. They're not gonna give me. If I'm getting good thing, if I'm getting a good opportunity, why not? My family will not support me. Of course, they're gonna support me.
Okay. And like you said, that you haven't signed any lease agreements or anything like that as yet. You're waiting for
For the license.
Okay. All right, Chair. No further questions at the moment, Chair. Thank you.
Bob, you want to ask any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Mr. Aurora, you mentioned Punjab Food and Wine. Whereabouts is that, please?
It's Bath Road, 720 Bath Road.
And you mentioned also that the £25,000 was for the sale.
Yeah.
You're going to buy some stock off the previous owner. Where's he getting that stock from?
Sorry?
Where's he getting his stock from, the previous owner that's running the business at the moment?
They're getting from cash and carry.
So he's going to buy stock for you to sell?
No. They have already stock.
The shop already has a stock.
Where is that?
Well, you're talking about alcohol?
Yeah.
No, they don't have alcohol. They
So
take it off.
They're not going to sell you stock then if they haven't got any in that shop, are they? Because they're not allowed to have stock in that shop.
No, they don't have stock in the shop anyway.
So they're just going to give you.
They have groceries and they grow everything, so I can buy that stock from them.
So what? Same question as the police. Then where are you going to get the money to buy a substantial amount of alcohol? Because it is a very big shop that you're getting at a very, very cheap price.
Yeah, so I'm still working. I have something to save, so I can buy from them from my savings. It's not, I have only 5,000 that I have given for the deposit and I have nothing left behind. I have some more savings in my account, so I can buy them and I can roll it up every week.
So when I visit the shop, if you do get a license today, there ain't going to be much alcohol there, is there?
Sorry?
If you could buy it weekly, there's not going to be much alcohol left in your shop, is there?
Yeah, but we can build it up slowly. It's not about I'm not in a rush. I need to build up. I need to put some like, I have to be, secure, and I'm not gonna sell anything wrong. So I can build up slowly. With that money, I can roll up that money. If I sell in 1 week like 2,000 pound alcohol, I can buy again. I can do cash and carry every day.
Okay. And what about your staff? How many staff are you going to have?
At the moment, I haven't decided. So it might be 2 staff or 1 staff or myself.
Or just you on your own in that big shop?
No, me and 1 more staff.
Okay. So, for instance, if you were granted a license, you'd be willing to say how many staff you'll have after 7 o'clock, for instance, at night?
No, it's if I start in the morning. If I start in the,
it's a big shop.
yes.
You're going to be open from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock.
Yes.
It's a very non-compliant area there.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
And there's a lot of off licenses, a lot of street drinking, a lot of antisocial behaviour. How many staff are you going to have for a night shift or till 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah, so I'm not going to entertain the street alcohol. I'm not going to sell them because I know that area is like this. So I will not let them enter in my shop.
Okay. Now, what I'm saying is, though, how many staff would you have at night after 7 o'clock, for instance?
2.
2?
Yes. 1 I can keep
enough for you.
1 I can do a part time and 1 I can do for full time.
Okay.
Yes.
How long have you had your personal license?
Sorry?
How long have you had your personal license? When did you pass your course?
Personal license.
Read what Mr. Panchal's just written for you and he'd be able to say it. Go on.
नहीं कौन सा personal license?
Your personal license.
Alcohol का. हाँ.
वो कब मिला?
कब मिला?
It's written in front of you, Mr. Aurora. Please read it.
Mr. Panchal is asking him when he received the license, and he's.
I'm asking him. It's not written down. Can I just make it very clear?
He is struggling to understand which license he's talking about.
Your personal license कब मिला?
The personal license was done with Mr. Panchal, so surely Mr. Aurora would know that.
कौन सा मिला है?
आपका जो personal license है वो कब मिला?
इसका alcohol का.
हाँ.
It's been 2 months before.
Before when? Today?
Sorry?
2 months before today, or 2 months before you applied for this application?
No, from today.
From today. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you appreciate what a special priority area is, do you? Your shop is in an area called a special priority area. Where
Yes.
There's been so much crime, antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, I know.
Drinking. It has been shown or nominated as a special priority area.
Surinder, this Southall is a special policy area where
Yes,
there's a lot of crime and nuisance. So the officer is asking, do you understand what special policy area means?
Yes.
So answer him.
It's it's I know it's danger area and everything, so I know we're not gonna sell anything like any cheap alcohol to anyone or any illegal things in my shop, so that I can get in trouble.
Sorry, Mr. Aurora, do you live in Hounslow, is it?
Yes, I am.
You do. Lovely. I thought it was. And sorry, just trying to undo the pages. Yeah.
Sorry?
So I was trying to find a note I'd made. So you understand why the area is, we have to be very careful who applies for licenses, granted licenses. I just wondering what sort of you think is exceptional that you bring to the table today to allow the committee to grant you a license.
I will not do any illegal things in my shop. I will not keep any cheap alcohol. I will not let enter any street drinker in my shop. So I'm gonna do everything on a everything on a like right basis, whatever suits like for my business.
Okay,
So
thank you. Thank you,
nothing
Chair.
will be gonna happen.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Carrie?
Okay, sorry. Mr. Allwright, do you know what the 4 licensing objectives are?
Yeah,
Can you explain them?
it's preventions of crime and disorder, promotion of public safety, preventions of public nuisance, and protection of children from harm.
Okay, good reading there. How are you going to
Thanks.
prevent any crime and disorder from the shop? How are you going to promote the licensing objectives?
Sorry?
How are you going to promote the licensing objectives and prevent any crime and disorder?
I can protect my license, not selling alcohol to any underage or any street drinker, or like I will not allow to drink behind my shop or front of my shop, or not open the alcohol in my shop.
Okay, right. Thank you, Chair.
Cheers.
Okay. Councillors, colleagues, do you want to ask any question? Cindy, you want to ask any question?
Yes, I did have 1 or 2 questions. It's just regarding, I just wanted to ask that to Mr. Arora. Hello, Mr. Arora. I'm
Hi.
Councillor Surinder Kaur Jassal. I just have a couple of questions for you. I just wanted to know that, did you manage to publish a notice in a locality newspaper within 10 days of lodging the application?
Yes, we did. Because the
Right.
application, we are the applicants for the application, and we have, as the license officer has just put the report in, we have published everything, and then the application is done in a correct manner
I
and
see.
followed all the procedures required.
And my other question was, I mean, the applicant was also required to display a statutory notice at the premises for 28 days. And was that carried out?
Yes, ma'am, as I said to you, all procedures were followed in the manner required by the Licensing Act 2003.
Right.
That is part of a blue notice at the premises.
They are in the documents, Cindy.
I
Yeah.
thought I'd just ask. Lovely. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ball?
Yes, thank you, Chair. A question for the applicant. So clearly you've had discussions with the previous owner about the sale of the premises, but did you know the previous owner prior to that? What's your relationship with that person? Is it?
I have I have no relationship with the previous owner. We just know him by a community. We came in the temple, so we meet each other every day. So that's I know how I know him. So there's no personal relationship with him.
Well, okay. So you say you see him every day. You know him. So he's somebody that you've spoken to at the temple through the community, but you don't have a close relationship with that. Is that what you're saying?
No, there's no any close relationship with them.
Okay, thank you.
Tajbir, you said you are buying a shop for £25,000.
Yes, sir.
What are you buying? What does that 20,000 is buying? Is it buying a goodwill? Is it buying what is that 25,000 for?
That's £25,000 is for goodwill.
That's very cheap, no?
Yes, because they don't have a license. So that's the opportunity I'm getting.
What is the average price of shops in Southall, the goodwill?
The goodwill in Southall, I can explain to you how the goodwill works in Southall. If the shop's taking is about 6,000, you multiply by 10, and that's a £60,000 goodwill for a shop. If it takes £6,000 officially on the paper. At this instance, the shop isn't taking that much amount because it doesn't have alcohol, and the shop has gone down.
What was it taking when it did have alcohol?
But it was taking about 8,000 to 9,000.
So what would be the goodwill with including alcohol?
That is including alcohol.
Yeah, so what would be the goodwill of that shop if it was selling alcohol?
It would work out to 60,000 to 70,000 pounds.
60,000 to 70,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And
it would fetch no, if the shop loses its license, in the way it does, it loses its complete goodwill totally.
Yeah,
So-
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. But with the license, the goodwill would be around £70,000.
Yeah, that would be another, to build up that goodwill again. The shop has to build up that goodwill because there are so many shops around, as you've seen in the report. And from our point of view and our experience in 20 years in the business, we would say to build up that provision of bringing it to 6,000, 7,000 or 8,000 pounds in a week is not that easy. It will take him another year or so before it can be built up. Because at the moment, there is no alcohol sold there. People would not be going up there. And so hence he has no choice.
Western Road, Southall is a quite good area.
It
Anyway,
is quite, yeah, it's quite good area, but that alcohol is quite prominent in, that is why you got a special policy laid out in South.
okay, thank you. We have come to the next stage of the application, and now PC Carrie Smart is going to present her side.
Thank you, Chair. Like we know, this is an application for a new premises licence for best quality food and wine, 59 Western Road. The premise did have a premises licence between July 2006 and June 2022, with the premises licence holder and DPS being a Mr. Jasbir Singh Kapoor. In March 2022, Ealing Licensing Compliance and Enforcement Officer Bob Deere submitted an application to review the premises licence due to failings by Mr. Kapoor to promote the licensing objectives following 2 licensing visits where illicit goods, including non-UK duty paid alcohol and illicit cigarettes and tobacco, were found and seized from the premises on Tuesday, the 11th of April 2017 and Wednesday, the 15th of December 2021. On the 15th of June 2022, the premises licence was revoked and there was an appeal against the decision, but it was withdrawn before it got to Ealing Magistrates. In my representation, I've put it's not clear from the application if the previous premises licence holder, so if Mr. Kapoor still has some control over the premise, as it's not been mentioned in the operating schedule, and the applicant has failed to produce any legal binding documents, whether it to be a lease or management agreement to state otherwise. And the police, after hearing from Mr. Orr today, the police still believe that Mr. Kapoor will still have some form of control over the business. It's not clear. Well, it's clear now because Mr. Aurora said he's only got 4 years experience, and at the moment it's part-time, so he's not very skilled in operating an off license, a premise selling alcohol. Again, that wasn't detailed in the application, so there was very limited information provided. As we know, the premises is located within Southall Town Centre Special Policy Area. This is a well-known hotspot area for street drinking, causing antisocial behaviour and public nuisance. 1.2 of the Ealing Council's licensing plan states the effect of adopting a special policy is to create a rebuttable presumption that applications for the grant or variation of premises licences or club premises certificates, which are likely to add to the existing cumulative impact, will normally be refused or subject to certain limitations following relevant representations, unless the applicant can demonstrate in the operating schedule that there will be no negative cumulative impact on one or more of the licensing objectives. And applicants should give consideration to potential cumulative impact issues when setting out the steps they will take to promote the licensing objectives in their application. I think today the police are still in a position where the applicant, yes, they've submitted or proposed conditions which go some way to promote the licensing objectives. However, the police still believe that the applicant himself has not provided any agreements. He's been loaned £25,000 by friends and family. However, the police are not confident that the applicant has enough experience to be a responsible retailer and to promote the licensing objectives while conducting licensable activities. Therefore, the police make our representations to the application in its current form and object under the 2 licensing objectives, and we reserve the right to draw any further information which may come to light. That's the end of my representation at the moment.
Thank you. Bob, you want to present your side now?
Thank you, Chair. Just got a couple of points to add. Obviously, you've heard that I reviewed the previous licence, which was revoked for Mr. Jasbir Singh Kapoor due to illicit products being found at the premises on 2 occasions. I'll also add to that returned to the same premises with immigration officers, excuse me, on the 9th of November 2022, where 2 workers who'd worked at the shop for a long time, and actually I gave the immigration office the information. They'd worked in the shop for a long time, and I'd met them on many occasions. Those 2 males were in the shop. One was found to be illegally working since 2004 in this country, when he entered this country, and the other had stayed since 2005. And in fact, when one of the males was searched prior to being taken away and detained by the immigration service, cigarettes, believe it or not, illicit ones, were found in his socks. I appreciate that was the previous owner who was still in charge of the shop at that time, but it just shows you what has to be done to make money in that area, because there are too many off licenses. The SPA was brought in because of that, and in fact, some figures from our policy show that street drinking related incidents in parks, open space, etc., 32 in Greenford and 130 in Southall. That's 400% increase in between the 2. That's because there are 20 off licenses within 500 metres of this premises. Mr. Aurora, you've heard, has 4 years part-time experience in working in other shops. Never run a shop before, never been a DPS himself before, but he's going to take on probably one of the biggest shops in that area and turn it into an off license, where if he wants to, he could stock the whole shop with alcohol if he wanted to, because we can't say you can only have 2 shelf loads. We've heard that he's going to borrow £25,000. He's paid money, and it's going to be a goodwill, and it's times 10, Mr. Banchel said, roughly, and what the takings are. But that's also not taking into account the rent he has to pay. That rent on that shop is not going to be cheap. He's going to have to earn, well, at the moment, Mr. Banchel, on that stipulation, he's earning about £2,500 a week. Obviously, taking the rent, taking everything else into consideration, that's not possible. Will not be possible for Mr. Aurora after paying his debts, stocking. Also, something that hasn't been mentioned is the freeholder. It's Mr. Kapoor. So Mr. Kapoor has got a hold on the shop. 10 weeks ago, this application was made. He's still paying the business rates, Mr. Kapoor is.
Mr. Panchal, can you switch off your camera, please? Your mic. Yes, Bob.
Thank you, sir. He's still paying the business rates on the premises, which I don't know what the certain amount is. But that's another thing that's to be taken into consideration. The area, as I said, it's a special priority area. I've heard nothing exceptional brought to this table by Mr. Aurora or his representative that is exceptional. And our policy says new premises will not be granted. It is a rebuttable presumption, but it has to be exceptional circumstances, and I've heard nothing today to make it exceptional. So I actually stand by my representation, and I believe that this application should be refused. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Mr. Panchal, can you switch on your mic, please, now? Yeah. Tajbir,
Yes,
can
sir.
you tell me what is the current sales figure of the shop as it is without off license? Just beer, not Mr. Panchal.
It should be 3,000 to 4,000.
3 to 4,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Panchal, now it's your turn to ask questions. If you want to ask any questions from PC Carey or Bob Deere.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned with both the PC Carey and Bob Deere. That PC Carey says that she has read the operating schedule. I don't know whether she has looked at the operating schedule number 14, page 19, which says a management contract or a lease agreement will be provided to the licensing team within 6 months of the premises being granted, license granted. So he has mentioned. Then there's another one on, if you go on to page 20, the operating schedule, it clearly states that Mr. Jasbir Kapoor shall have no involvement in the running of the business and its accounts. That's number 2. I also would like to bring to your attention, like Bob Deere says, that the previous owner is the freeholder. Previous owner is not the freeholder of the premises. May I just make it absolutely clear? I don't know where Mr. Bob Deere got the information about the previous owner being the freeholder. Previous owner is not a freeholder of this premises.
Plus,
I think what Bob Deere meant was the previous owner is still the owner of the shop at the moment.
Well, he will be. Sorry, Chair. My client has clearly stated earlier he hasn't signed any contracts. He hasn't signed anything. All he's done is left a deposit of 5,000. If he gets a license today, then he will be going forward with the other procedures. And it is mentioned in our operating schedule, as you have seen, page 19. There is number 14, which clearly states that within 6 months of the time of the license being granted, all the lease documents and everything will be provided to the council. So it's clearly stated that. And in his presentation also, he stated that he hasn't done anything yet, and he will not be doing it because unless and until a license is not granted, it is not going to be worthwhile for his shop and that.
And Jasbir is the current owner of the shop.
He has to be the current owner because if there is no license, if you do not grant the license tonight or today, there is no point Mr. Tajbir buying that shop because he's not going to click.
Okay, you will have the opportunity to sum it up. At the moment, you have any question from both PC Carey and Bob Deere?
Yes. I have no part-time experience. I have a full-time 4 years experience. Mr. Bob has said that I have a 4 years part-time. No. Part-time experience I'm doing now, but 4 years experience, I have a full-time experience. So I understand how to run a shop, how to sell alcohol, how to run a till, how to do a cash and carry. Because 4 years I have done the same thing every day.
So there is a full experience. I don't know where.
So I know how to run an off-license shop.
And the other thing is, I'd like to question Bob and Carey together. Does that matter? How much the shop is bought for? Is it a concern that that you should oppose a license? If he was getting this shop free of charge, you would say that the license should never be granted. Am I right in saying that? If Mr. Previous owner hands over the key to Mr. Tajbir Singh on a completely free, including the stock, would that mean that you would both oppose that the license should not be granted because the shop is given free of charge?
Yes, Carey?
Mr. Panchal, I think given the circumstances of the previous premises licence holder and the premises licence being revoked, I think the police are well within their rights to have concerns over this application, as there is no lease and management agreement in place at all. Given the circumstances that we were in last year, I think, yeah, we're well within our rights to raise the funds. Mr. Aurora said he's working part-time at the moment. So where are the funds going to come to buy a business if he's only working part-time? Look at the history of the premise. That's what we're going on. We're looking at the history of the premise and the what you're proposing at the moment. And you've not provided any lease or management agreement. So there are serious concerns there. And the applicant is only working part-time. So there are going to be concerns over the financial position.
Well, we have mentioned if you look at page 19, section 14 clearly states, I don't know whether you read that or not in the operating schedule. If you look at operating schedule, page 19 of your bundle, and you look at number 14, it clearly states that we've said a management contract or a lease agreement will be provided to the licensing team within 6 months of the premises license being granted. You haven't read that. Number
Yes.
one. Number two.
I have, and like I said, given the circumstances of the history of this premise, you would have thought that if it was legit, I suppose, in some way, or that Mr. Kapoor is not involved in this, then there would be that agreement put in place, given the history of the premise. The premises license was revoked only last year, Mr. Panchal. It was only revoked last year.
Yeah, I'm aware. But what my concern is that you keep on saying that there is no lease agreement in that, but we've stated clearly in our operating schedule that within 6 months of a license being granted, the lease documents will be provided. But if they're not provided, you could immediately bring the license back to the committee, which will be revoked.
But the £5,000 that's been handed over already, where's an agreement in relation to that? Is there any signed documents in relation to the £5,000 deposit? They've not been produced, have they?
Yeah, but that is not necessary at the moment, because number 14 clearly states to you that the documents for the lease and the agreement will be provided within 6 months. And if that condition of the operating schedule is breached, automatically under 135, Mr. Tajbir Singh could be prosecuted. If you look at the laws, he will breach number 14, which is on the condition of the operating schedule. So under that, the Licensing Act clearly states under section 135 that Mr. Tajbir Singh would be prosecuted if he breached that condition number 14.
Right.
I think it says can be prosecuted, Mr. Pranchal. There's nothing legally binding in you writing condition 14 that management contract or lease agreement will be provided to the licensee within 6 months to the premises license being granted. Yes, I have read the operating schedule. Yes, you have put this in applications previously to review licenses that you're applying for when they have been revoked. And I can mention at least 2 premises where that has not happened.
Yeah, but they have provided at the end of the day, either if there are no 6 months, but they have given a reason. If previously we've done that, we have given a reason and provided the licenses were provided.
Mr. Panchal,
yeah.
Yeah, as this is a special policy area, you need to convince the committee, the colleagues, and this is what I think PC Carey and Bob Deere are trying to focus on, that you need to bring something which can tell the panel that yes, there will be a difference in operations, and there'll be no repetition of what happened to the same shop before. So this is what actually they are trying to bring up. And what you are saying is that yes, if the license is granted, there will be a lease agreement. But at the moment, the panel need to be convinced that in a special policy area, there are really, something that you are doing which is going to change things.
I'm going to put my submission in at the moment. I'm trying to question the police and that, Chairman. I'm sure I'm going to put that how that's going to be done in the special policy. My present, as you have given me the permission to ask the questions to the police and inspector, my worry every time I come to the licensing officer or licensing hearings is how much money has been paid, how much has the business been bought for. I don't understand where that is in the Licensing Act, which shows that the client must prove how much the business is being sold, or how much the money has been spent, or where has the money come from. I don't see that. I've studied the Licensing Act, and I've not seen anything in the licensing which says that the police can, or any responsible authority can come up and say, well, if you got the business free, we're not going to give you the license. It doesn't matter how he gets the business. It doesn't matter what he pays for the business. It matters how he's going to run the business. And that is what I'm going to be putting up. So I'm very, every time I come to the hearing, I'm very sad to hear from the responsible authorities saying that, well, he's only paid 5,000 or he's getting it for 25,000 when the business should be worth $1 million. Doesn't matter how much the business is worth. Doesn't matter how he gets it. If the previous owner wants to throw the keys away and get away, and tell Mr. Tajbir Singh, here's the keys, I'm running away, take the business free of charge. That's good luck to Mr. Tajbir Singh. There is nothing in the Licensing Act that if Kerry and Bob could show to me today what section is there in the Licensing Act, which says that the business must be appropriately financed or appropriately paid. Yes.
Okay, Kerry?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Panchar, I think you need to understand most of the premises licenses applications that you bring to the police or to the local authority are premises that have history where they've had a premises license revoked. So of course, we're going to have serious concerns with a new premises license, hence why we ask about the financial side of it, because you normally bring premises that have a history of, you know, illicit tobacco or alcohol. So yes, there are serious concerns, and we are well within our rights to ask those questions.
Yeah, you're well agreed to ask the question, but you need to think about it that when previous owners or people trend to cause problems in their premises, and the only choice they have is to leave that business and either sell it off or forever. And once they sell it off or give it to somebody or throw it away or go away from the business, the person who's going to apply, everything reflects on him. As you're mentioning in your thing today, that the XYZ has happened to the premises. What has that got to do with Touch Singh?
Because
Yeah,
you've not provided any agreement between Mr. Aurora and Mr. Kapoor to say that it's a new business completely. You've not provided any legal binding documents.
But he's already said to you in number 14, because he cannot produce a legal document, because he is absolutely not sure whether he's going to get a license or not. So he's got a subject to grant of license. So he's provided that on page 19, number 14, clearly stating that within 6 months of my license being granted, I'm going to provide the documents.
But
Under
he's not
section
even provided
135,
any documents in relation to the £5,000 that he's put down as a deposit. There's no documentation there. You've not provided any legal binding documents. £5,000 is a lot of money.
I don't think that matters. He has paid, he's explained, but I don't think that matters. That's what my concern is. But
okay, that is noted.
Right.
That is noted. That is noted.
Yeah.
That is fully noted and understood by the panel. Do you have any further question from?
No, thank you very much, Chair. I'm going to just provide my.
Okay. Colleagues, do you have any questions? Yes, John.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've got some questions for Mr. Deere. So the all relates to the what's on page 42 of the bundle within the statement there. So firstly, discussing the raid that happened in November. So can you just clarify that whether the two staff members were both illegally in this country as at the date of that raid?
Yes, they were both illegally in the country, sir.
Thank you. Do you have evidence that the previous license holder is the freeholder as opposed to the leaseholder of the shop? Because I think that was unclear.
Not with me, sir. He is paying the business rates. That's what I can confirm at the moment.
Okay. And then finally, you state that the applicant only has permission to remain in the UK until this year. So, is that something that is you can definitely correct, because clearly that has a great deal of bearing in how viable he is as a new owner in real control of the shop going forward.
That was from his ID supplied for his application, I believe, to be the DPS. Obviously, that can be renewed. I'm just saying it runs out in 2023.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Any question from Councillor Jassal?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just going back to what Councillor Ball just mentioned, so does that mean that you will extend your permit of the stay in this country?
Mr. Arora, this is a question to you. Your microphone.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's a refugee case and it's been granted for the indefinite in July. Because it's going to be my like 5-year status is going to be expired in July. So I'm going to apply for the indefinite visa, and I will get it like in a month or 2 months. Because I came from Afghanistan, so I have, but they're going to give me to live here.
So, oh, I see. Okay, I see. Okay, I understand that. Okay, thank you.
My all family members have indefinite visa, because I getting 5 years visa a bit later than them. So
Right.
my whole family got permit to leave to remain in this country. My visa expiring in July. So after July, I'm getting indefinite visa.
Okay.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we've come to the next stage of the application now, and I'm going to ask PC Carey and Bob D to sum it up, and then Mr. Panchal or Mr. Arora will have the opportunity to sum up, and we will come toward the conclusion of the hearing.
Thank you, Chair. Quite brief. So the police still stand by that the application is to be refused. The applicant has very little experience in operating a licensed premises within a special policy area. He doesn't have his own funds. He's borrowing a lot of money off people without any legal binding documents. Yes, they've said that after 6 months there will be documents, but again, the police are concerned in relation to any financial agreements as they've not been produced. And the police still believe that the previous owner, Mr. Kapoor, still has some form of control over the premises, as he's still paying business rates. So therefore, and the police are not convinced that the applicant is responsible to promote the licensing objectives. Therefore, we believe that the application should be refused.
Yeah. Bob, you want to?
I will be brief as well, Chair. Yes, we've heard a lot about money today. It is important because if he's just given the keys by Mr. Kapoor, the previous guy, what's stopping him just giving the keys back to him by Mr. Arora? Yes, there will be a condition that he's not allowed to have anything to do with the business. That's no involvement in the running of the business or its accounts. It doesn't stop him collecting rent every week off of Mr. Arora if he keeps the lease in his name, because we're mentioning about a management contract as well. It's not a lease, it's a management contract. So he could still benefit from that business. And in Mr. Arora's evidence, he says it doesn't, I say he doesn't bring anything exceptional to the table. He did mention in his representation what is expected, and I think is expected from every licensee. That's the bottom. We don't look at the bottom layer or the bottom rung. Every licensee should start at that level. We want people above that we know can run businesses successfully in a special priority area where, I said earlier, there's 20 other off licenses or 19 other off licenses in a 500-metre radius. And it's not, I don't want Mr. Panchal to come back and say we can't look at how many businesses there are. I'm just saying there are 19 other businesses. It's a special priority area. It's there for a reason, and I stand by my recommendation. This should be refused. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Mr. Panchal and Mr. Arora, this is your turn now to sum it up.
Sorry, Chair, I'm just going to mute myself. Unmute myself. Sorry, Chair, I'm going to sum up my putting down how the premises. You have seen that Mr. Tajibir Singh has full confidence. He's laid out everything that you asked him in full confidence. He understands the 4 licensing objectives. He understands what he's trying to do. I think it is not a criminal offense to borrow money to buy any business or anything. It does happen in the community that we've seen every now and then. And you understand, being in the community, how the community works. Mr. Arora, sorry, Tajibir Arora, he has knowledge of running the business. 4 years running a business of license, where he understands what the cash and carry is, where the goods are being bought, how it's stocked, where it is kept, and how it is run. He has full experience in that. being in the part of the community, and Southall is full of the Indian community, he understands the street drinkers, and he has put all that in his conditions laid out. If you look at the page 19 of your bundle, where all the necessary conditions are laid up, where he's not going to sell anything above 6%. He doesn't want to sell single cans of beers. He doesn't want to sell miniatures. He understands the area very well. He has an opportunity for himself to make it into a better business. He has put it down, so, page 19, number 14, that yes, within 6 months, he will provide. And it's not a management contract that he says he's provide. There will be a contract or a lease agreement, clearly states, so he will be providing a lease. The previous owner does not have the freehold of the property, as you heard, and he understands, and Mr. Tajbir Singh has already told me who the freeholder is. Can you please name who the freeholder is?
Rajpal Alok.
Rajpal Alok is the freeholder. So Mr. Tajbir Singh has already understood who the freeholder is. He's spoken to the freeholder. So he's not talking to the previous owner on the matter when the shop is going to be sold. But there is a way that the sudden premium has to be paid. We understand in the community and we go along with that. And on page 20, he's already mentioned to you that Mr. Jasmeer Kapoor, the previous owner, shall not have any involvement in running the business or any accounts of that. That clearly states, and those sections are to be followed. I'm a little bit surprised, and I understand where the police and they're coming from. But finance is not something that I've seen in the matter of the Licensing Act, that how much the shop should be sold or how much it should be bought for. That concerns has to be rectified in future in how we go about it in promoting licensing and promoting the area. Yes, there are plenty of premises around the area, but there is a need, and all premises can work if they are properly worked up. Mr. Tajbir Singh Arora is going to look into how he's going to promote the 4 licensing, which he understands how licensing objectives. He has come up to the course. He does understand that he has to have a training manual. He does understand that he has to provide and make sure all the people are legal in that part. Yes, your concern is that what is new he's going to bring in. Well, he is bringing new in, is he is following all the conditions laid out, which the previous owner did not follow. He understands that if he breaches any of the conditions, he will also lose the license, which he doesn't want to. He has an opportunity. He will have people who he has to pay the money back to, and if he fails that and he loses the license, he will have no good business running around, and he will be having more people on his head, which he doesn't want to do. So, Chairman, here there is a scope, and there is somebody who is going forward, and I feel that a chance be given to somebody who is coming forward in his life, and he's young, he's not old. So I think the license should be granted today.
Okay, Mr. Panchal, you said the finance is not an issue, maybe not legally, but you have come with many cases where off-license owners are selling illicit tobacco, they are selling illicit, illegal alcohol, and the reason they do is they claim that they don't make money without that. So if the owner doesn't have finances, then he will end up struggling. And then when they struggle, then they start doing those things which you come very often to the committee. But anyway, we have concluded now. So there is a finances element relevant to any business. When we are talking about business, finances are relevant. But thank you for your presentation and summing up. We have come to the end of the hearing. We are going to retire with the legal advisor and the clerk, and we will come to a decision. I think the best thing is that we meet back at 4 o'clock. But if there is any delay, then we will definitely let you know. Otherwise, we will be coming back at 4 o'clock if we can come to the decision. If we can't come to the decision, then obviously it will be notified and it'll be given in the 5 working days. So until 4 o'clock, Jack, you want them to stay online and switch, or whatever you want to do?
I'll put attendees into the waiting room.
Okay, thank you.